And we're all set.
Good evening,
Hopefully you guys can
everyone.
hang on, Margie. Let's just do a check before we get started.
Yep,
You guys should be able to see the slide now that says Elite Leaders Network presents. If you can see that slide, just raise your hand in your little dashboard so we don't go on without people seeing the slides. And
and
they
make
can,
sure to say yes if you can hear us.
yep. If you can hear us, just type in there. So there's a way for you to chat in there, and they're all saying yes, and they're raising their hands. So we're ready to go. Technology's working.
All right. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Elite Leaders Network webinar this evening on 3 things that elite leaders do that others don't do. My name is Margiela Prandy, and I'm joined by my partner, Sean Smith. We're really grateful to have you here tonight and want to congratulate you on attending the webinar because we know that in today's busy world, trying to balance a myriad of things, including an extremely demanding business life and all of our social commitments and so forth, that there are a lot of things you could be doing this evening. So thank you for being here, and we know how valuable your time is. We've got some fantastic information prepared for you this evening. And so just a little bit about what this will do for you over this next little while that we spend together. So we're going to be talking about advanced leadership skills and what that will look like in your network marketing or your direct sales business. And if you have a burning desire to gain more confidence as a leader, to be able to lead more effectively, and to have leadership qualities that create results in the teams that you lead, then you are absolutely in the right place.
And so how this is going to work is we'll be going for right around an hour or so. We'll have some time for questions and answers towards the end. If you do have something that comes up based on our content or just anything that you think about, then you can type them into the questions. We'll try to monitor the questions as they go along, but if we don't get to them, at least they're out of your head and they're in the question bank, and we can get to them towards the end during the Q&A session. And our advice is not to take notes of information. Don't just try to jot down everything that you see on the screen and all the slides, because we want you to get the real nuggets. So what we want you to do is take notes of inspiration. Take notes about the things that, the thoughts that come out of your head, the ideas that you have. Oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to talk to this person. And that's going to be the way that you get the most out of this. And towards the end of the webinar, we'll let you know 2 things: how you can get a recording of this so that you can capture all of that information, but then also how you can go at a much deeper level with what we're going to be talking about today, with the advanced leadership and coaching skills and all the stuff that we'll be presenting. So I'll let you know how to get the presentation recording toward the end.
So yes, so stick around, and probably most of you who are listening in tonight are very familiar with both Sean and myself, and it's possible that you've been a part of our community for a little while. But every time we do a webinar, there are also people that are listening in for the first time that maybe know one of us better than the other, or neither of us that well. And so we want to take just a second to give a little background on who we are, so that you can better understand our perspective and where we're coming from, and who we are as it relates to this material. So Sean is going to share a little bit about his story, who he is, but before he does, I just want to say what a joy it is working with him. And there's quite a unique story how we came together, and this is not the time nor place to go into that, but what I do want to say is that collaborating with him and working with our community on helping them advance their lives and their businesses forward at an expedited pace this is one of the greatest joys in my life, and I love watching and working with him because of the tremendous heart, the deep caring that he has and the understanding that he has of the inner workings of our psyche, and how to create really significant inner shifts that create the outer results at the end of the day. Who are we being on the inside that will create the doing kinds of results that we want to create? So Sean, if you would just take a little bit, a minute or two here, and tell us about yourself and your background and how it is that you got involved in this crazy, wonderful profession of ours.
Will do. And thank you for those words, Margie. I love you. And I second that it's just such a joy doing the work that we do with the people that we attract and working together. So, my story is first and foremost, I am a father and a husband. And I've been speaking and coaching for 10 years, but it's not who I am. It's just what I do. I've got this amazing family there that you can see in the picture, my wife Sybil and our two incredible kids, McKenna and Exley. They always almost bring tears of joy to my eyes every time I look at them there. And my journey into personal development really started when I was 13 years old. It was a moment of clarity and shifting and transformation really in my life when I was nearly killed by my next door neighbor. He ran over me as I was riding my bike to school, not intentionally, but it was a hit and run accident. And by the details of the accident, I should have died. I mean, he was going 50 miles an hour, and my life literally and figuratively changed lanes that day. I realized that we have only one shot. And I realized that no matter where we are in life, it can end and we're not promised our next breath. And so I started to view everything differently from that point forward. I started to read about success and goal setting and doing a lot of things that most 13-year-olds weren't doing at that time because I I was seeing the world through a mortal set of lenses, which was a huge blessing to me. And then about 20 years after that, in roughly 2005, I sort of formally, I guess, got into the world of personal development in terms of going to seminars and things like that. And I had a gigantic breakthrough in my belief system when I attended a seminar. And I just wanted to share what I learned with everybody else. And it was in that moment that I decided I want to be a speaker, and I started to teach people what I was learning and how they can clear themselves of the fears and the doubts and all those things as I was going through it. And I just naturally fell into this world of network marketing and direct sales. I had been in network marketing, I was familiar with the industry, and I love the energy and the passion that people have. And so pretty much everybody in this industry is dealing with those internal fears. Those are the things that cause people to succeed or fail, is the internal game. It's not the external skill set game. And so my teachings and my lessons just were and are a perfect fit for entrepreneurs in general. So for the last 10 years, I've been primarily speaking and coaching and training in the direct sales industry. And then a few years ago, I was introduced to this wonderful woman. And I've met a lot of leaders in the industry who've done amazing things, who have hit insane levels in their company, and the paychecks are, hard to fathom. I've met a lot of those people, and I never really connected with any of them. Great people, wonderful people, but I never related on a certain level with any of the real high achievers until I met Margie. And Margie has done some of the most incredible things in this industry that anybody literally in the entire history of this industry has done. But that's not what impresses me about Margie. What impresses me about her is not what she's done, but how she has done it and how she continues to do it. It's who she is, it's her leadership, it's the way that she makes people feel who are around her. And she's the very first top level leader that I truly related to and respected from a personal, how you treat others vantage point. And I just fell in love immediately with her. We had this incredible connection. And a little while after that, we decided, let's get together and put our superpowers together to work in tandem with each other. and let's go teach some of the stuff that we learned. So we're dear friends, and I just love and respect her so much. And when whatever she has to say about this business, you got to listen, because she's been there, she's done it, she's experienced everything that you've ever experienced, probably 100 times over, and she's here to synthesize things for you and just make it easier so that you can avoid some of the bigger mistakes and just get to where you want to go a lot quicker and with a little bit more grace and ease. So Margie, you want to dive in a little
Thank
bit
you
to your
so
story?
much. Yes, thank you so much. And Sean and I have such a deep desire to share the things that we've learned along our journey, that if it can help someone who's a little earlier on in their path to make the journey a little shorter, a little more joyful, a little clearer, make it happen a little faster. That's where that's what really lights us up. And my story, as it relates to network marketing, began, oh geez, I think we say 25 on this slide, but I think it was more like 27 years ago now. Um, so I was at a crossroads in my life because I had three little children. I did not want to go back to teaching junior high school music, which is what my official training was in. I didn't want to leave them at home and miss their growing up years, but I knew I needed to make some money. We just had moved into a new home, and I did not want to uproot them from that home with all the other destabilizing things that were going on in their lives. And I had never really captured the full, I think, impact of what can happen in our profession when you find a product or a service that you are really passionate about. And then all the stars align and you can talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime. And, just when that comes together, this is the most amazing profession on earth. And so, as destiny would have it, that's what occurred for me about that time, just before school started, and I would have had to go back to teaching school and making a meager salary that would not give my kids the kind of life I wanted to give them. I happened upon a fledgling network marketing company. I knew in my deepest core that this is what I was being called to. I canceled that teaching contract. I jumped in with no money, no previous experience, and three little children. um, plenty of what most people would call challenges, or like the deck stacked against me, but my children were my why. And the one thing that I did right in those early days, because I certainly made a lot of mistakes when I was trying to get my business up and running, but I made a whatever it takes decision, and that was that has served me so well, because as challenges have come along, as they always will and they always do, when you've made that deep decision, you're more solution oriented, and you just don't have to rethink your decision all the time. And so with all of the challenges that occurred in those early days and trying to get started and so forth, and um, the upshot of all of it is that within 1 year I was making more money in a month than I could have made in an entire year teaching school. In the beginning, no money. I'm driving around, sleeping in my car in hotel parking lots and getting dressed in gas station bathrooms, and I mean, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. It didn't take too long before those initial efforts paid off, and now I currently have a team that spans 29 countries, 250,000 people across the globe, with a team that continues to grow today. And I've been able to provide my four children with a lifestyle that is literally beyond my wildest dreams. And just this last weekend, I was together with all my children, two of them now married, and so with their spouses as well, and significant others, at a wedding here in Salt Lake, my sister's son's wedding. And I look at the people that they've become, and I remember that young girl 27 years ago who had kind of those doubts and fears and concerns and wondered if she could do it, but who had really passion and vision and determination. And I look at who these little people have become, and I don't take credit for who they have become, but what I do know is that it helped them to have an entrepreneurial mom who, by pursuing her own dreams, let them know that their dreams matter too. And so today, my relationship with my grown children, Sean, Nicole, Todd, and Ashley, and their spouses and their significant others is the sweetest aspect of my life. And I'm so grateful that I have a business that I love, that brings me fulfillment, and that all those years ago I made a decision that was the right one for me, and and it has blessed my life and my children's lives for 2.5 decades and a couple of years. So
That's beautiful. And I can still
thank
hear the emotion in your voice when you talk about your kids and
you.
just the pride that you have and so much of that goes into the decisions that you made. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's always touching when we hear each other tell our stories a little bit. And so let's get into the content tonight that you're all here to learn and to participate in. And so let's start out by what we believe is the biggest challenge in the network marketing industry and direct sales of any kind. And the biggest challenge is simply this: you are leading a team of volunteers. This is not the corporate world. It's not somewhere that there's built in leverage because people are going to get fired if they don't do their job or any of that sort of stuff. The truth is, these people are here on their own. They can leave at any time, and they often do, which is one of the biggest problems that people experience internally and emotionally, etc. And they're really doing this work, and they want to do this work on their own terms. A lot of times they don't like people watching over them, and they think that if you check in on them that you're micromanaging, and it triggers a lot of the things inside of them. They want to be independent, and all of these issues with just natural and normal human beings. When you attach that to what the opportunity is here, it's a recipe for, I don't want to say a recipe for disaster, but it's a recipe that causes a lot of angst. It causes a lot of problems in the industry. And it's the biggest issue that I get asked about as a coach. The most common question I get asked, and I'm sure Margie's the same way, is what can I do to get my people to do something? What do I have to do to motivate them? And so there's so much instability in this industry, and there's so much emotional volatility, I would say, because that's just the way human life is, right? There's big ups and big downs, and people's lives are making changes and shifts every single day. And so you as a leader have to manage that. And that doesn't mean it's your responsibility to manage their issues, but you have to manage and navigate that whole situation. And I believe that inside of this challenge is the reason that almost everybody who struggles. I think this is the encompassing situation that creates most of the challenge inside this whole industry. I mean, Margie, I would imagine you pretty much agree with everything that I said,
For sure.
and I'd love to hear your take on it from experience.
Well, and this is where the whole idea of leadership comes in, because if and just let's just say this is a given. You're leading a team of volunteers. They're working on their own terms. In fact, guess what? That's what you sold them on when you talked to them about this business. You sold them on the ability to do business for themselves, but not by themselves, and to be able to work on their own term in their part-time, create a full-time income. I mean, those were the selling features. And so we can't really get into the game and say, all right, well, I don't really like that. I'd like to lord over you. I want to hit a rank, and so you know what? You just need to get in line, because you know what? You're number 3 for me in that rank achievement. So it just can create some really weird feelings on both sides, because honestly, as a leader, sometimes here's the bottom line: what you need to remind yourself is that nobody owes you anything. No one owes you anything. You're in this business to live life on your own terms too. You don't owe anyone anything. You only owe it to yourself. And that can be difficult because you invest in people and you pour your heart and soul into them and you help build them and you move them along. And so sometimes you start thinking that they do owe you a little something. And so it just takes this constant course correction from within, that just that strength and that autonomy of taking what we've said here is the biggest challenge. You probably agree with us. And within every challenge there is an opportunity, and if in a challenge it's implicit, like there's nothing you can do about it, like this is the way it is, full stop, period, exclamation point, then your best opportunity is to take a shift in that perspective and make a positive out of it. And I really believe that you can. And what it comes down to here is creating an attractive style of leadership. Attractive leadership is very different from this sort of punitive, cajoling, pestering, pushing kind of leadership. Attractive leadership is when you are moving forward and you're looking for those who are looking for you, and you're bringing along all of those who are ready, and you're moving at the pace that they are with them, but you are not slowing your pace to their pace. That is attractive because you're not just waiting around on them. Your future does not depend on them. It depends on your actions. And so when you have a really big vision, you're an attractive leader. When you are a purveyor of possibility, you are an attractive leader. And so we can actually capitalize upon what could be the biggest challenge by engaging with people, because people do things for their reasons, not ours. And when, as a leader, you are deeply in tune with what your team members' reasons are, and you can lead in an attractive and compelling and inspiring way, you can engage them and entreat them and support them. It's a whole different thing than trying to drag them over the finish line. And so if you are, and this is just one of the Sean and I are just so about this idea of being a leader. This doesn't mean you're a mamby-pamby leader. It means you can have strong conversations. It means that you show up as an advocate for people, and sometimes that means being a little uncomfortable in a conversation. And all of these are skills that can be learned and honed, but the answer to this big challenge is that you become a leader that builds by attraction, and that you elicit a rally cry that calls forth the innate desires of those on your team so that they are doing it for their own reasons. And then, hallelujah, you make the ranks, you make the money. But that type of leadership versus a more manipulative or controlling or shaming or cajoling kind of leadership, that will never win. Because even if it gets a short-term result, it's never based on lasting principles, which are people do things for their own reasons. So if you can inherently tap into their innate desires, you will win every time. Call that forth, celebrate it, and support it. And that's the answer, I think, from my perspective, to the biggest challenge in our profession.
I love that. And I mean, everybody. So one of the things that I think that creates more of a problem around this challenge. So there's there's a difference between a challenge and a problem, right? The challenge is that's the situation. That's just the way it is. The problem is what we do as humans, how we respond to that challenge. That's where we tend to create, quote unquote, a problem. And so what I think a lot of people do to add to the problem of it is they have unrealistic expectations of other people as well as themselves. That other people are supposed to have certain viewpoints, they're supposed to do certain things, nobody's ever supposed to lie, and it just gets people wrapped up into this integrity filled internal conflict. And other people, and a lot of people have unrealistic expectations of themselves as well, that you've got to be gentle on yourself, and you've got to understand that it's an ongoing process. And the beauty of this industry is that you get to deal with people all the time. If you choose to find beauty in that, then you will, and you'll actually enjoy it. If you choose to find irritation in that, then you will, and you won't enjoy it, right? So much of this, probably all of it actually, is dependent on your response to simply what is. I mean, that's the nature of this industry. And so we want you to respond positively, obviously, so that it serves you and it doesn't create more of a challenge for you. So now that we've set up what the biggest challenge is, let's talk about leadership. There are three huge mistakes that most leaders make. Now, obviously, we could go on for 4 hours in this webinar and talk about all the various mistakes, but these are the three biggest ones that we see. And the first one is absolute disaster in your business. And that is when you hit a certain rank and you decide that your recruiting is done, right? Like you've done everything you need to do. Now you can turn around and manage other people. And when you do that, it creates an energetic change in your business. I mean, it's literally as though you were walking forward with people around you, or behind you rather, and then at a certain point, you turn around and now you're facing everybody else trying to walk backwards. And now all of your energy is focused on your people. You're no longer focused on the growth and expansiveness of the road ahead of you. You're focused now on all these people. And it just creates a bottleneck, right? It's impossible for somebody to continue running backwards like that as they were going forward. So anytime that anybody does this move, it will create their business to shut down, at least slow down, most of the time shut down. And then it just creates a big traffic jam, right? And then everybody bumps into each other. Now you're all just standing still. You're looking at all of them, asking them, why won't they continue to keep moving forward? And they're like, well, you're in our way, right? Now, obviously, none of this is logically what's happening. It's not intentional. But energetically, that's what I see all the time is people will turn into management mode. And a lot of times the labels inside companies actually have manager in them, which I think is just an interesting, little thing to play with. But regardless of the label, the title that you have in your company, it's more of the energy that's going to cause everything to fall down or everything to keep going. So you can't afford to get out of touch with the things that cause your business to succeed in the first place, right? Whatever you were doing to create the success that you created, you should keep doing that. Just keep doing more of it. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some shifts in your business. There will be some skill set changes, but these are very, or at least primarily minor alterations. These are minor shifts. They're not wholesale shifts. But yet that's what most people do is they make wholesale changes and their ego gets involved sometimes and they think about what it means to actually be a leader, and I'm putting leader in quotes. In this industry, you're a leader when people are following you, and you're going to continue to rise through the ranks of this business by keeping your nose to the ground and continue doing what works. Not every time you hit another level, you shift again, because then the people behind you don't know what to do. Every time you shift, there's a little bit of a shock to the culture of your team. There's a little bit of of a shock to the energy, right? So again, you're going to evolve. We're not saying that you're just going to constantly do the same thing and just do more of it. You're going to evolve, but you have to make sure that it isn't a radical shift in your energy such that you're not doing the same things that require business, that require or that dictate success, rather. That's what I was looking for. You've got to keep doing the things that determine and dictate success. Otherwise, you're going to get rusty. Your team will start to shift and start to kind of fall into this new pattern. And you don't want that. You want people to stay in the rhythm and to keep going forward. And you just simply can't lead other people somewhere that you're not going yourself. And then the other thing that it does, and this is an unconscious thing, is that when you achieve a certain point and then you stop doing the activities that it took for you to get to that point, it sends a message to everybody who's watching you that these activities are not fun. Because why would anybody stop doing something that's fun? And so if you know, bust through the fire, so to speak, just so you can get to a position and then you can stop doing those activities, you're painting the picture that that's the way this business is supposed to be run. And you don't want everybody to do the same thing. You don't want that to duplicate, because then everybody will try to get through their miserable activities, right? And I know I'm exaggerating a little bit with that language, but that's how a lot of people are going to experience it. They'll get through the miserable activities so that hopefully they can stop. And then what happens is, as this ripple goes out and out in your team, people will try to stop sooner, right? So they won't even hit the level that you hit in the first place. They'll try to stop sooner. That's just the nature of human behavior, right? How much quicker can it's the there's a name for it. It's like the path of least effort, right? How much quicker can I stop? So you don't want to send the message that these activities are the things that you just have to do and not enjoy until the day that you can stop. Otherwise, your business will just constantly be a recipe for implosion.
Yeah, so true, so true. And it's not like you were saying, Sean, it's not that your participation won't shift slightly, because there will be a time when, in the beginning, you're really into the team building mode and you're bringing a lot of people on board and getting them started right and helping them get their team started right. Eventually, and that's probably what you do with about 80% of your time. And because you don't have a big team yet, you're not really spending much more than about 20% of your time training and helping them. But eventually that is going to shift on a continuum, and there will come a time when you're continuing to build your team and bring new people on board, but that will be a smaller percentage, maybe 20%, because now you're supporting the depths of the team and making sure they get, water gets to the end of the row, and that they have the support that they need, and that you're kind of breathing life into the depths of your organization. That at some point will take 80% of your time, and then, but still, there's just really no substitute for you remaining relevant, because you're engaging in the activities that they are engaging in. And so you with your knowledge and your leadership are constantly fine-tuning your skills in the very same things, that their activities that they're doing, so that you can be a powerful and relevant leader. And so another error, another mistake that leaders make that causes their business to grow stagnant, is when they quit growing personally, and they don't keep a high importance on personal development. No matter what stage of your business you're at, and this goes for life too, there are always going to be things that bubble up. No matter how many times you've dealt with a certain thing in a specific kind of situation that you feel like you've got it down pat, there are always going to be new things that are causing you to reach deeper inside yourself, to draw on more inner strength, more wisdom and perspective. There will always be things that are challenging you to stay on your toes, and it is an absolute kiss of death if you stop growing personally. It is so important that you have a daily regimen, that you take the time to do the inner work, so that you stay grounded and strong and clear and visionary, and that you are regularly revisiting your own why and your own dreams for your own reasons, connecting deeply with the desires that you have in your heart, aligning them with your day-to-day activities, staying clear and focused and grounded. It's so important that you do this, because if you don't set that pace of personal development, you will find that your team won't either. But if they can feel that you are this constantly aspirational person and they see what you've achieved, and yet here you are always taking notes at events and in meetings, if they see that you always have a new quote from a book that you're reading, if they see you attend some of these generic network marketing and direct sales events, and they know that you're sharpening your skill set all of the time, they will follow your example, and you'll have a team of people that are constantly investing in their own personal development, and it's just so very critical. Um, if you will keep a vigilance to your vision and recognize, kind of going back to that idea of attractive leadership, if you can be that possibilities, that purveyor of possibilities, and you keep that vision strong, that is attractive leadership. If you quit your own personal development regimen, I promise you, it won't take very long before you are in the doldrums, and your mind is caught up in that person saying no, or this person invested so much in leaving, or what he said to she, to who said to, and what did they think of. I mean, you can get thrown off course so easily if you don't just plant your stake in the ground and invest in your own personal development regimen and your own personal development. Always be reading something, always be aspirational. It'll help you not just in your business but in your whole life. I do believe that as long as you're growing, you are in an expansive mode. As soon as you think, oh my gosh, I know all of that, I've got it all dialed in, I've got all of the skill set and the personal development, I got it honed, I got it handled, then I do believe things start in a downward spiral. You're either expanding or you're contracting. You're either growing or you're declining. And so make a commitment to your own personal growth. Sean, anything you want to add to that one?
Yeah, that was so powerful. So what just hit me is, here's somebody who's been in the industry almost 30 years and done some of the most amazing things any of us could ever even comprehend. And one of the most important pieces of success in this industry, coming from Margie's mouth, is work on yourself. And the reason I think that's really important is because I think if you ask almost everybody, well, if you were to ask everybody in the industry, what are the pieces to create massive success, that wouldn't be one of them for most people. Personal development for most people in this industry is accidental. And what Margie is saying from her experience, and what I fully believe in too, is it has to be intentional. And it has to be one of the primary focuses that you have, so that you can deal with all the other stuff. I think most people would say, to succeed in this industry, you have to know how to overcome objections, or you have to be good at sales, and you have to be good at recruiting, and you have to, show up like a leader, and you have to do all this stuff. But most people don't realize how important intentional personal development is, so that you can do all that other stuff, so that energetically you can navigate all the challenges in this industry.
I have to add one more thing
Sure. Yes.
along this same topic. Just that your belief, your strength of belief around the value of what you have to offer, both from the business model standpoint and from your product or service, and your belief in your ability to lead people, that comes across in every conversation. And your belief is going to be challenged every day. There's going to be something that can just take a little chink in that belief. And your vision, if your vision is what's going to attract people to you because you see big things, there's going to be something that challenges that vision every single day. And it is your opportunity and it's your responsibility to do what you need to do so that you can literally be that emissary of hope. And that, my friends, it's the inner work. It's being willing to go the distance with yourself, for yourself, and also because that's what works as a leader.
Oh, I love that. Every single day. Yeah, there's going to be an opportunity for challenge, and you have to sign up for that game. I mean, that's the game. Now, from a skill set perspective, one of the biggest mistakes that leaders also make is that they haven't mastered communication and they haven't mastered coaching skills. There's a difference between coaching and teaching. And a lot of people know how to teach and they know how to train and they know how to tell people everything they need to know about the product and how to order and all that stuff. But there's a lack of coaching skills in this industry across the board. And that's a distinction that so many people don't ever, like, they never cross that line because they don't make that shift. They don't really focus on communication and not the ability to speak in front of a crowd, giving an opportunity presentation or sales presentation or anything like that. Of course, that's one level of communication. But what we're talking about is really transformational communication. It's being able to connect with somebody, being able to hear what they're saying in between the words that are coming out of their mouth. And this does take a little bit of a higher level of study, but it will give you such a gigantic ROI, return on your investment, and it will allow you to be what we've already been talking about, the emissary of hope that Margie just mentioned. It'll allow you to be this leader that people can relate to, that people trust, that people ultimately want to follow because they see themselves in you and you really truly understand them. But not only do you understand them, you understand how to coach them. You understand how to help them through some of the shifts that that they need to go through. And it's not found in the training manual or the DVDs of your company. And I'm not saying that to demean anybody's company, but the what causes success and failure in this business is the internal game. It's not the intellectual game. It's not how, anything that has to do with the tangibles or anything that has to do with the service level details of your company or your compensation plan or any of that stuff. It's all the internal game because there will be so many opportunities. As Margie was saying, there's an opportunity every single day for you to get frustrated and for you to quit, to contemplate just giving up. But now you throw multiple people into the mix. So not only is there an opportunity for you to get frustrated, but there's an opportunity for everybody else to get frustrated every single day. And then you guys get to communicate with each other inside and around all of that frustration, and all of the challenge and the excitement and the joy and all these things that are swirling together. That's not an easy thing to navigate through. So you've got to understand these higher levels of communication so that you can be clear, so that you can be inspirational, and so that you know how to have and you're willing to have the critical conversations that must be had for people to change their lives. And sometimes it's a leadership thing where you have to talk to somebody about their behavior at events, or you have to really, dive in to their sabotaging habits and what have you. Sometimes it's an internal conversation that you've got to guide them through about having happiness or joy, in their life, or why did they choose this business in the first place. It's those kinds of conversations that are really going to be the turning point for so many people. And a lot of people in this industry don't have the mastery, and therefore they don't have the confidence to have those conversations and to really dive into this level of communication and leadership.
That's awesome, Sean. So let's talk about the three things that elite leaders do that others don't. Like, what are these three? Um, Sean talked about having the critical communication skills, and I'll tell you that's just very, very important to be able to be prepared to have conversations that can be a little bit challenging sometimes. And one of the things that makes teams fall apart is when there's no communication at all and everyone is just making a bunch of conjecture and assumptions, but nobody's really talking about the elephant in the living room. Okay, so here are the three things, and we can kind of go through these quickly because we're getting near the top of the hour. And in a couple of these cases, they're the flip side of the mistakes that people make. This first one, number one here, is that elite leaders who are successful have made the shift from their own personal agenda to service. They've literally, or at least much of the time, this doesn't mean that, in one glorious moment you become philanthropic and you're only focused on other people and their happiness forever and ever. It doesn't mean that that occurs, but that you recognize that that is the sweet spot when you're coming from a place of service. Not that you're minus your own self-interest and your own goals and desires, but that you've really made that shift. Because at a very deep level, people know what your motive is. And they will not trust you if they don't believe that you truly care about them. And also, the desperation that you feel about one person being the answer for you, one person helping you get that rank, one person, that one, oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be them. All of that desperation is completely gone when you move to a place of service. And so it's such a strong grounding place to be, and so very powerful. And you'll find that really attractive leaders spend most of their time living in that place, and it makes all the difference. Sean, what's the next one? Put
Yeah,
that
there's
first
such
one
an.
up there, Sean.
Oh, sorry. Uh, they make the
What
shift
one?
to service.
There you
Yes,
go.
thank you. Yeah, that energy shift is just so important. It takes care of so many things with other people as well as with you internally. So the second thing that elite leaders do, or in this case have, is unusual clarity. Now, unusual doesn't mean that everybody can't have this kind of clarity, but most people don't have this kind of clarity. Everybody has the ability to, but it takes work, it takes effort, it takes intention. We're creating new habits and letting other habits go. And you've got to have this crystal clear focus, and you've got to be so aligned with your activities and your values and your identities, internally, and what you're here to do. It's that crystal clear piece that overrides so much of the other challenges that you're going to face. You're not going to be able to face all of these big challenges with vague motivation and just kind of weak inspiration or weak focus. So you've got to come from this bigger perspective. Margie always talks about telling the bigger story, and part of that is telling the bigger story to yourself, because when you're focused on the bigger story, all of the minutia in the business that you're going to move through doesn't hook you. It doesn't grab you. It doesn't knock you off the horse, because you know that you're still on purpose and you're focused on something bigger that overweighs all of that stuff that is smaller. And so the novice leader in this industry really gets battered around all the time by all that minutia, the things that people say and how they express their emotions, and people lying, and they're destroyed by rejection and by disappointment, and all the things that are required for success in this industry batter people and destroy a lot of people that don't have this clarity. But the advanced leaders, the elite leaders, really see things from a much broader perspective. And because of that, they're more emotionally stable. It's harder to get their feathers ruffled because they see the much bigger picture. And it doesn't mean you disconnect from other people or you become a robot that doesn't feel or anything like that. You still are connected to your feelings and you're connected to other people, but you've got this overarching wisdom that is coming from a place of reality, and it's coming from your core, and you're able to discern what's true and what isn't true, and what are your judgments and how other people are doing what they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing, and the fact that it doesn't have any bearing on who you are and what you're here to do. So that higher level of clarity is a complete game changer, and most people don't make the effort to get there.
And the third one, I think I've learned so much from you, Sean, as we've put together course material around advanced leadership and coaching, because I think I've always been a great encourager of people. I think I've been willing to advocate for them and have the hard conversations. But there are just a few things that I have learned from you, well, more than a few, a lot of things that I've learned from you that have enhanced my communication skills in crucial conversations, more than anything I've ever studied or anything that I've learned. And so, elite leaders that access these kinds of skills really have a leg up on others, and it includes that multi-sensory listening, really listening with your heart as well as your ears, and being prepared to open the conversation and lead and guide the conversation so that you can truly bring out what the other person desires, what your team member desires. And oh my gosh, it's just the exciting thing to me about this is that these skills really can be learned, they can be mastered, they can be developed. And there are people that have gone through the course that we're going to share with you this evening, our advanced leadership and coaching course, that have seen such dramatic difference in their life as a result of utilizing these skills. I mean, bottom line is we're interfacing with people all of the time, and the stakes are high often, and things get muddy and sticky, and there's emotion, and people have a divergence of opinion. And if you've got a few basic skills, particularly as they apply to this business, that are specifically crafted for you to be able to utilize in those sticky situations, oh my gosh, it just gives you the confidence that you've got what you need as a leader. And the time to do that is to hone those skills before you need them, not when you're in the thick of it and emotions are high and you don't know how to manage what happens next.
Yeah, I love that last piece. The time that you need a map is before you go into the forest. It's not while you're in the forest and lost and then trying to recover from some of the challenges. It's really about avoiding a lot of these mistakes. And this is the area of this industry in the teaching that I do and that Margie and I do together that I'm the most passionate about, because I've developed a coaching business over the last 10 years, and I've been studying this work, and I think it's the biggest missing piece in this entire industry. And here's why. If you don't have these coaching skills, then you're really at the whim of other people's fears and other people's sabotaging patterns. Your success is capped because you can only achieve to the level of your team members' fears and beliefs. So I want you to really understand how powerful that is. If all you can do is tell people what to do and then they either will or they won't, your success is determined by whether they will or they won't. But what if you learn some of these advanced skills and you could help a lot of those people that won't become people that will? And this isn't about, brain uh, um, brain, what's the word, like brainwashing or mind tricks or any of that kind of stuff. It's just really about authentic leadership, authentic persuasion. All leaders are very persuasive people, but there's a science to it. Like Margie said, this stuff can be learned, but it's not natural. That's another thing that I've learned. If you just watch what other people do and you just try to mimic what other people do without an understanding of why they're doing it, or without some of the foundational awareness and without doing some of the work internally yourself, that's not going to work. You could just follow Margie around and tape record everything that she says and memorize it and then go off and try to say the exact same thing that she says. But if you're not coming from the same place and you don't know when to push certain buttons with certain people. You don't know when to back off and when to push forward. You don't understand the deeper levels of human behavior, then just regurgitating the transcript is not going to work. So we don't want you to just rely on these on the communication skills that we get programmed with as we grow up in natural society. I don't know if there is such a thing as natural or unnatural society, but just the traditional society that we grew up in. If you just try to take those communication skills and apply them to your business, it's not going to work. It's not going to help you get to the levels that you really want to get to. It's not going to help you become as influential in other people's lives that you really want to be. And so you'll just constantly be handicapped by other people's choices and other people's decisions. So as we said, this is learnable material. And that's exciting because a lot of people have this limiting belief that, they're not good enough or they're not a leader, as though you can't learn these leadership skills and these advanced coaching skills. So it is learnable. And this is what I am most passionate about teaching. So one of the very first things that Margie and I talked about when we, years ago talked about doing something together, it was this piece right here. It's how can we add something to this industry that isn't currently there? And Margie will tell you, she's been in this industry for decades, and this information isn't being taught.
Doesn't exist. No,
It
doesn't
just
exist
doesn't
anywhere.
exist, right? And that doesn't mean that that we're trying to say that we're better than anybody else, or we're pointing fingers, or shining any kind of a negative light anywhere on the industry. But what we are noticing is what it really truly takes to make quantum shifts in business, and especially at the leadership level. And it's usually not available. So we have a program coming up, and it's the second year that we've done this program. It's called Advanced Leadership and Coaching. And of course, this year is 2015. And in a moment, we've invited a couple people to jump on the line and give their experience of this program. We'll see if they're on. But the Advanced Leadership and Coaching program is basically, a deep dive into something that I've learned in being a life coach and a business coach for over the last 10 years. And what I'm teaching my private clients, and what Margie is doing in the trenches every day and teaching her leaders every day. And it's the difference that makes the difference. It's not the surface level stuff that's going to create the amazing, breathtaking future that you want for yourself. It's this inner game content. It's the advanced coaching piece that will really make a difference in your life. So in this course, actually, if any of you are interested and you want to be a part of the course, I have to change this URL actually. So let me, my screen is going to go off here for a moment
Yeah,
while
and
I,
while you're doing that,
go ahead.
I could just chat about this for a second and how valuable I feel this information is, because so many people are daunted by the idea of leading at all. In fact, sometimes the very idea of leading scares people so much that they don't want to recruit, because then they'll be a leader and then they have to guide people. Now they're responsible for somebody, and it's just so overwhelming. And so, a lot of people say, this is called advanced leadership and coaching. I only have 2 people on my team. Is it for me? Or I'm just getting started. Is it for me? And I say, because these are, for most people, learned skills. These are not necessarily intuitive skills. Though a lot of your intuition is utilized, it's not like you just were born knowing how to handle some of these sticky situations in a way that will elicit the right response and keep things right within your team. And so to know these in advance, even if you are just starting, can be extremely helpful, because when the time comes, they will be such a part of who you are. They'll be such a part of your repertoire of interaction and behavior that it will become second nature to you versus just kind of being blindsided by situations. So,
Yeah, I love the
is
way you
that
put
the
it.
right link now?
Yeah, that's the right link. It has a 2015 on the end, and I like how you talked about it's really who you are and who you become. It's the essence. It's not memorizing language or skills. It's really just becoming a transformational force, not trying to memorize what to say and what to do. So do you want to take the
Yeah.
first set of bullets there on the content?
Yep. You'll need to put them up. So, uh, the course is so comprehensive, and the one of the most valuable pieces of the course is that it's a really hands-on practical course. Like, we're working with you to implement these skills and coaching and mentoring as we go along the way, which is really important. So as part of the course, we'll be discussing the fundamental principles of human behavior, which is super important because, understanding kind of the inner workings and what makes people tick at a deeper level, man, once you understand that, it's a game changer. And how the brain learns and how the brain filters information, hugely valuable. Advanced influence and persuasion. Once again, this is not like, let's brainwash you, and here's how we're going to manipulate the situation. This is just how to leverage influence to draw the best stuff out of people. So it's leverage and systems and momentum creation. Would you like to create some momentum in your business? Would you like to just create that surge of excitement? It's about magnetic leadership and recruiting essentials. Like, how can you create a recruiting climate where literally you create a recruiting frenzy, not just with you but on your team? It's also about the higher level coaching skills that can be implemented very easily once you understand the basics of them. And the Ignite coaching framework, which we'll go into a little more detail on, that's an acronym. We also discuss the hierarchy of human emotions, which is the Maslow stuff, and communicating with the unconscious mind. This is just, if you like to know how people tick, you can see how this very information will ripple effect into every relationship of your life. You'll find that these are skills that are so beneficial with significant others, with children. You'll find it benefiting all areas of your life.
And so a few of the other things that we teach in the course is a framework called the 5-finger framework for all behavior. It's a way for you to really synthesize the reasons that people do what they do, yourself, including other people. We talk about meta programming and macro programming of the brain, which is how people operate at a very high level. If you understand that people fall into high level categories, it's so much easier to help them make some of their shifts, and it's easier to compartmentalize their behavior as it relates to you. We talk about strategies big time in this course: motivation strategies, learning strategies, quitting strategies. We all have a strategy for something. And when you understand that behavior really comes down to strategies, then it's so much easier to make some of the changes internally and with your team. We talk about action and validation and worthiness and transformational leadership and what it means to help people move through these conversations in their head, especially the one about worthiness. Am I good enough? Will I succeed? People's relationship with money. We talk a lot about beliefs in this course, and how to guide people through belief change in their life, because you can't outperform your beliefs. We talk about specifically in this industry why people buy certain products, why they join businesses. If you understand why people buy, you don't need to memorize a sales script. You don't need to memorize a recruiting script if you understand why people join businesses. When you have this deeper level understanding, you can make decisions on the fly instead of trying to memorize certain things. You can assess who's in front of you and what they need at any given point. Because you understand human behavior, it's much easier to make the right choices based on who's in front of you. We talk about language a lot. What are the laws of empowered language so that you can keep yourself empowered and keep your team empowered? We talk about creating rapport, maintaining rapport, and using rapport. And rapport is not what a lot of people think it is. It's not just getting people to like you. It's creating an energy of trust and responsiveness so that people will follow you. We talk about internal representational systems and how people learn and how people need to be spoken to and ways you can teach them and all the different learning styles that you've got to incorporate into your conversations, especially when you're doing recruiting presentations in a group. You've got to understand that there are 4 different types of people and you got to make sure you grab all of them. And there's so much more. There are built-in sessions of Q&A and laser coaching that we do throughout the course so that we make sure that you're really getting it. We want to be available for you as much as we can throughout this course to not just learn the information, but to implement behavior change at a deeper level, behavior change for you, and to implement strategies that can help other people change their behavior and change their beliefs inside of your business. So it's a very rich course. It's something that you can dive into, and if you're the kind of person that's just fascinated by why people do the things that they do,
Yeah.
this is going to be perfect for you. This really will. And I apologize. So on the links that are in my slides here, um, I didn't put the 2015 on them. So I'm kind of going through here and adding, slide by slide, which means I have to pull the slides out and you get to see my desktop and all that kind of stuff. So apologize about that. But the the URL has a 2015 on it. And what I'm going to do is I'll type it into the into the question chat box here, and I'll just send it out to everybody. And that should be a clickable link. If you're interested, you can just go ahead and click that link. So you're going to get some bonuses for this course. One of the bonuses you're going to get is digital access to all of my audio programs, which is well over $500. Actually, quite a bit more than that. It's probably closer to $1,000 or $1,500. You're going to get access to all those audios for you to to incorporate into your training, into your teaching, into your leadership, and yourself, your own journey. You're also going to get a one-on-one conversation with one of my trained coaches. And I would suggest you use it somewhere toward the end of the program so that you can talk about how to implement some of the concepts that we teach, into your life, because you are living an individual life and you have an individual journey, right? And so the conceptual things that we talk about sometimes kind of need to be translated into your world. What are the exact relationships that you're dealing with, and how can we implement some of these things specifically with you? So that's a hugely valuable piece, is that one-on-one coaching time. And there's also a fat bonus, and we call it a fat bonus because it stands for fast action taker. We're not making any comments on people's weight or body types or anything like that. It's a fast action taker bonus. And remember, that link has a 2015 on it. That's the old link that's on the slide right now. The fast action taker bonus is this: for the first 5 people that jump into this program from this point forward, I'm going to do the phone call with you. So you're going to get a private coaching call with me specifically, and it's well over $500. My hourly billing rate right now is $625. So you're going to get a private call just with me specifically. We love rewarding people who take action, and I'm more than happy to spend time with those kinds of people on the phone. So that's going to be for the first 5 people that that jump in. So before we hear from some folks, let us tell you about the investment options. This program, the essence of this program, is a lot of the same material that I teach people who are getting certified to be life coaches and to be business coaches and are paying $10,000. The essence of this program is taken from that material. But what we've done is we've taken only the stuff that we think you need to know inside of your industry, inside the network marketing direct sales business. We're not trying to turn all of you into life coaches, but we're trying to give you some of the skills that I use on a daily basis, that my coaches use on a daily basis, that can really move the needle in your industry. So these are real advanced skills that literally, I mean, people are paying our company, $10,000 to get certified in a lot of these advanced level skills. We're not going to keep that price for you. What we're going to do is hopefully make it a no-brainer for any of you that are really drawn to this higher level work, to this deeper understanding of behavior and communication and coaching and all of that stuff. We want to make this affordable for you. And we also have a payment option. So you can do a full price of $997, or you can actually do a payment plan of 4 monthly payments for $277. One thing we didn't say, Margie, is when the course is actually starting.
This week.
Right. We start in 2 days.
This course, yeah, so there's a little urgency here. This course we offered to segue from a live event that we had just a few weeks ago. And at that live event, we made this special offer of the $997 price point as an on-site at the event kind of pricing, but we also mentioned that we would be offering it in a one-time way to our direct community, and that's why we're offering it at this price right now to you.
So we hope you see the value, obviously, and we'd like you to hear from a couple people. Let me check to see if we've got a few of our amazing community members on with us here. Let's see if, let's try Michelle. I just unmuted you, Michelle. Michelle Reynolds, are you available? I tried to unmute you at least. It shows unmuted on my end. Okay, so if you're speaking, Michelle, I can't hear you. Go ahead and send me a message just in the conversation here. Send me a message and we'll try to troubleshoot. So let's try another Michelle. Michelle Moore, are you on with us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yay!
Wow. Awesome. Hi, Margie.
Hi, dear. Hi.
Okay. So why should you do this? This course.
Yeah, just tell us your experience and right and anything that you'd want to say to anybody that's contemplating.
Yeah, if you're contemplating it, just do it. If it's not something that's of interest to you at all, then it's not for you. But if you're even on the fence, do it. I'll tell you, it was valuable enough for me that I'm taking it again. Not because I didn't get anything out of it last time, but because I'm excited about deepening the knowledge that it taught me. Implementing the information that I learned from Sean and Margie has helped me beyond my business. I thought that it would help me with my business. I did not realize that it would make me a better wife, that it would support me in my ability to actually be able to connect better with like family members. I am not a mother, so I can't speak to how it would help in that way, but I know that it has made me a much better listener. I am somebody who loves to talk, and I always felt in the past almost responsible for the people that I worked with, for them reaching their goals, for having to have all of the answers to be able to help them, break past whatever issues they were having, that I had to have all of the solutions. And what I learned from Sean and Margie is that I just needed to have the right questions to bring out what was inside of the individual. So it has definitely made me a better director in my business. It has definitely made me a better coach. It's helped me be just overall a better woman. And my wife is actually a manager in a restaurant, and it's made her a better leader in her world. So when you're talking about an investment like this, which I get it, it may be a lot. It certainly was a lot for me at the time. But it is so well worth it. The knowledge, what Sean said, this is something that I would pay $50,000, $100,000 for, because the knowledge that you get is, it's so much bigger than what you could even possibly wrap your brain around right now, and how it could really transform your life and transform your business it's priceless. So I pray that you make the decision that serves you best. I pray that I get to know you better in this group. I'm already a part of the course. I'm excited for it to begin, and I hope that I have the chance to meet you and to work with you, on this higher level. So just do it.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. You know what? It has been awesome. You are such a powerhouse anyway, and yet to see you create some of the distinctions from some of the material and soar even higher, it's just awesome. It's inspiring to us, and a word about this community. My gosh, talk about support and inclusiveness, and people who are there to cheer you on and also call you out and keep you going. And the community is something that's created by everyone but us. I mean, we're to some degree, and it's one of the most amazing parts of what we got going on here. So thank you so much for that, dear.
Oh, you're welcome. I meant every word.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Margie, I think Michelle Reynolds might be able to jump on again. So let me try this. Okay,
Hey,
Michelle.
guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to share for a minute. This course has changed my life. There's no question. And I have always been a pretty strong leader, but I didn't always buy into the philosophy that you just didn't have the right people on your teams. And I always felt bad for just kind of keep going, and it felt like I was leaving people behind, per se. And what I learned through this is that, it's their choice, and it's my job to coach them, not to drag them. And it's just given me such a self of confidence your course has. And I just don't know what my life would be like without you guys. I would probably still be frustrated and angry and, still in the same boat. And what it's given me is, and I'm also doing it for the second year because I've not mastered it all. There's always more to learn, and every time I do a course, a call, read one of your books, listen to one of your audios, I'm just always at a higher place because I've learned from you guys, and I love the person that I'm becoming. And I hope that you guys, if you're sitting there saying, well, I want to love the person I am, I didn't when I first started this. I like I said, I was angry, I was frustrated, I was kind of bitter that it wasn't going fast enough, quick enough, and I've kind of learned, well, I have learned to let go of that and just let things be that just need to be how they are. And instead of trying to change other people, what I've done now is change myself. And boy, it is sure a lot easier to change yourself than to change someone else, because in fact you can't. And a couple things that Margie and Sean said earlier were, you want to become an attractive leader. Well, my team sees me growing on myself. They see me going to seminars. They see me investing, in myself. And I've changed not only things business-wise, but I've changed quite a bit personally as well. And I've seen some, good results there as far as weight loss. If anyone on the phone needs to lose weight, you may not think you're coming to an advanced leadership course to lose weight, but my God, you sure can. And the other thing you said was, this is about inner work. It's about you. And I think that is what Sean and Margie bring to the table more than anything. I think it's fate that I ended up with you two. I don't think there's any chance about it. I had a friend give me Margie's book And I took that book to the Bahamas, and I read that book cover to cover on a beach, and it was so just so wonderful. And I emailed Margie and said, okay, I'm blown away by you. I have to know you. And I fell in love with Margie just from her book. And her response to that and our almost instant friendship, came as a result. And when I saw Sean was going to be involved, I was like, who's Sean? Who's this guy? And I have had many coaches in my life, and quite frankly, none of them were strong enough for me. I felt like I was not getting what I needed. So when I saw Sean as a coach there, I was like, okay, who's this clown? No offense, Sean. And and what I did is I also gained another dear friend in life that Sean truly cares about people, and he gives you the tools to help you care about people. And when they say they're there for, give you bonuses, give you time, give you availability, boy, do they. I've never been in a community, and I was a training and development manager where that's all we did was work with people on learning and connecting, and I've never seen a community like this one. And so having been given the chance to go do, this training with them or go do other things, I will always opt to go with Sean and Margie, even if it's the same course I've done over and over again, because I think this is the missing link to people's self-esteem is you have to fix you first. And when you fix you first, then you keep learning, and then you become this unstoppable leader that people will want to join you. So I just, if you guys are questioning it, I have one more thing to say and then I'll jump back off. I was, in the past, I have had money like, oh, that's $997. I had that thing around money, and I still do a little bit. And, you're worth the investment. And you may not have $997 right now today, but someone does. And, if you need to put it on a credit card, put it on a credit card. Not that I am a huge advocate of that, but then you're going to have a reason to get busy in your business and pay that sucker off. So, where there's a will, there's a way, and I would just advocate that you put you first.
Wow, Michelle. What an honor to even hear those words, first of all. And I can just picture you on that beach. I can also picture us in Paris, which is so exciting.
Yes.
So, yeah, talking about the ripple effect. And I think the thing that you just said that is really just the core of all of it is that when you really believe in yourself on a deep, deep level and you get your worthiness and your value, you show up differently. And then all of the other things kind of fall into place. And that's the core of what we teach. And it's all you doing the work, but we create the space, and we understand how critically important it is to the whole process. And in and amongst all of that are skill set ideas that will change your world, literally rock every relationship you have. Will stands the possibility of great improvement. So we could not adore you more, Michelle.
Thank you.
If you choose to do this journey with us, you'll find that they are some of the most big-hearted, inspirational people you will ever meet, and their arms are wide open to welcome and support you along with other members of the group. And we do have this Facebook group that serves as a great source of information and inspiration and camaraderie and community. So I just don't know what else to say to you guys except thank you so much. It's just been such a joy to be linking arms with you and to see the progress, and just to know how brilliant you were at the get-go, and to just feel like we're doing all of this together is an honor.
Thank you.
There's so much value in our community. Just the support and having a place to talk about things that a lot of people don't have an outlet for is crucial. And to know that you're not alone in some of the feelings that you have, some of the frustrations that you have. I can't tell you how many times somebody has told me that they were either having a bad day or they were having questions in their mind about whatever, anything, you name it under the sun. and they would reach out to somebody they met on Facebook, or they would post in the Facebook group, or just connect outside of our calls and just create the most amazing support system, whether it's one-on-one or in groups. And that's another key piece that's missing in this industry a lot, is that level of connection outside of just your company. There's going to be many different companies represented in this program, and that's really important. So you see things from different perspectives. Nobody's going to try to recruit each other, selling their products or any of that sort of stuff. That's not the kind of people we attract. But there's a level of support that a lot of people are missing, that can only be experienced outside of your normal environments, and your company just fits into those environments. I would say the same thing about your family, and the same thing about your friends. There are things that you need to learn in your life that your current environments just won't teach you. And it's not a bad thing about your environments or the people that are in them or whatever. It's just the way it is. You need to, if you want to grow beyond where you are, you need to learn beyond what you've already learned. And your environments have probably taken you to exactly where they're going to take you. And so if you're serious about moving beyond that comfort zone and toleration zone, you've got to be willing to move beyond your current environments as well. And, we come from a place of full on 100% total celebration in this entire industry and every company that's out there. And this is not competing training in any way. You'll never hear any of us or anybody in our community say that's not the way you should do it, or don't go to your events, or don't listen to your upline. We'll never, ever come from that place. This is really filling in the gaps. That's all it is. It's complementary training around the issues that most people need, that are just missing in this industry, that we've learned with our, combined nearly 40 years of experience.
And so I think there are probably people listening right now that, as you're hearing this, and maybe by happenstance, maybe absolutely by design, you feel like you're on the call tonight, I want to say that it probably isn't an accident. I believe that people cross each other's path at exactly the right time for exactly the right reasons. And if on some level this is calling you, then we just want to encourage you to find a way to make it happen. And that has nothing to do with us or our desire to build a really big course and have a lot of people in it. What it has to do with is, if it's your time, then the cost of not taking action when you feel called can be a significant sellout on yourself. And so the question to ask is not what is the cost of taking action, but the more important question to ask is what's the cost of not taking action? If you feel called right now, then there's something here for you, I would dare say. And if you fail to take action on that, then it's quite possible that you're just simply not listening to a deeper intuition that says, this is your time, there's something here, there's information that can take you to the next level. And what really, in the bigger picture, a minuscule price point for such dramatic, bold changes that could be a real turning point for you in your life, in your journey, particularly your business journey. You can imagine in a forceful phase of active business building, that kind of money is very easy to make very, very quickly. And so we just encourage you to really ask yourself, what's the cost of not taking action if you feel called. And if you don't feel so called, get it. Sometimes it's just not the right time. This is not the right information for you right now. You're in a different place at a different time. So, all of those are possibilities. But if you're feeling called, we just really encourage you to take action. And you're not going to regret your investment in yourself as it relates to this course.
Yeah, don't be held hostage by your fear. That's what a lot of people do, is they listen to the voice of fear that says, what if it doesn't work? That says, what if I don't take it seriously, like I haven't taken other courses seriously in the past? What if I lose that money? What if, what if, what if? And if you focus on the what ifs of taking action, as Margie talked about, you'll always stay stuck in your comfort zone, period. And there's a voice of fear which has the highest intention of keeping us safe. And unfortunately, most people listen to that voice instead of the voice that says, but what if this time's different? What if this really truly is what I'm missing? What if I really do want to explode with this new information? What if today is a new day? What if this year is going to be a new year? That voice is the voice that should be listened to. And we're not, trying to talk you into something that doesn't feel good, because if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. We would say the exact same thing if your intuition is saying, this isn't for me. But if your gut is saying, this is for me, and your fear is saying, but it costs too much, my advice is that you listen to your gut more than you listen to your fear. Otherwise, you're going to have a life where you just settle for the circumstances. You can't break your current circumstances by listening to the voice of fear that created those circumstances. So if it's calling you, make it happen. And if it's not, then be done with even thinking about it, right? But here's what I know. At the end of your life, you're not going to care about what a lot of people think they're going to care about. You're not going to care about whether you achieved the certain ranks. You're not going to care about how much money you created. You're not going to care about whether you made it to the top of your pay plan, or whether you bought the house with the white picket fence. You're not going to care about those tangible things. What you're going to care about at the end of your life is basically one single thing. Did you try? Did you go for it? Did you put your money on yourself instead of putting your money on your doubts? Did you really dig your feet in and go, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, but what I do know is I'm going to take the shot. I am going to swing the bat. That's the biggest thing that I learned when I almost died when I was 13 years old, is that I never wanted to look back and realize that I lived a life more committed to my fears than my dreams. And
You
that's
know,
what we wish for you.
Oliver Wendell Holmes says that too many people die with the music still in them, and I guess that it's always been a huge motivating factor to me. And I don't want to look back on my life and my time, because I know we're just here for a minute. My gosh, just having this weekend here in Salt Lake City with the kids and thinking it was a minute ago that I was giving birth to them. Now they're grown and they're going to be starting families of their own. Like, it goes so fast. And so it's a powerful motivator for me that I don't want to die with the music still in me. And if you've got music, your song that needs to be sung, that if you don't sing it, it's going to go unsung. It's yours. And if you've got that sense that maybe we're the people that could help support and coach you, then just make that happen, because you can honestly become a music man. You can become the person who draws the music out of other people and helps them sing their song. And it all starts with you. It starts with that deep inner work of being willing to claim who you are, step into it boldly, and it all starts with a decision. If this is the right thing for you, make the decision to join us. If not, that's all cool, because there are so many things that we offer that we're here to support you in the capacity that meets your needs at this time, because our intention is to advocate for your greatness and to help people along the journey a little faster, make it a little more joyful, a little clearer, and a little more profitable, a little faster.
Awesome. And so a couple people are asking about some of the details about the course. These are group coaching calls. We start in 2 days from the time that we're doing this webinar. We start on Wednesday, June 10th. and the calls are roughly 90 minutes long. Sometimes we go a little bit over because people have questions, or we just expand a little bit more. And they are weekly calls. So it's a 12-week group coaching program that, and I'm pretty sure the calls are every week, but the calls are on different days every week. So if you have a standing meeting on Tuesday night and we only did calls on these Tuesday nights, then you would miss every one. So you are going to be able to attend live many of the calls. If you have a weekly meeting, we've scheduled them in all different days. And any of the calls that you miss, you will have immediate access to the recording. You'll be able to download it so you can put it on your phone, or just put it on a computer or something like that. You'll have the handouts that go along with the course. We're going to give you all access to all the materials as much as we can to support you in not just learning the information, but implementing the information. And this is going to be an intimate group. This is not going to be hundreds of people on the line. This is going to be, maybe a couple dozen at the most.
Our
And
hands on your business. Our hands on your business.
right, that gives us so much more time to connect individually, and that's why we have such deep relationships with people like, Michelle that you heard from today. And Margie and I just love the intimate connection that we can create only on calls that are this small and this intimate. So that's the structure of the course, is those 12 phone calls. Let me see if there's any other questions that we can answer before. How often does the class meet? So it's a 12-week program, and we meet about 90 minutes on the phone. I think that's it. A lot of the other questions, comments, I will individually respond to, because they are about certain things that don't necessarily pertain to the group here or to the course. So that's all, folks. If you want a recording of this webinar so you can go back and listen to all the information like we promised in the beginning, send an email to info@coachshansmith.com, and please put the subject line 3 things recording, please, as you see on the screen there, and we'll send you the link when it's ready. It's not going to be immediately fired off to you because the page isn't ready yet, the recording isn't ready yet, but as soon as it is ready, we'll go ahead and send you the recording to this webinar. And you can feel free to share this. Somebody asked, can we share it with our upline and other leaders? And the answer is yes, you can definitely do that.
Absolutely. Anybody that you think it could benefit. The information is valuable. Yeah, whether the course is of interest to you or not, if this information can help you, yep, spread it in any way that benefits you.
Love it. All right, you guys. Well, it doesn't look like anybody has any more questions for us at this time. Hopefully this has been valuable to you. We really want you to take these concepts, these discussions to heart, but don't keep them in your head. Implement them. Put them in your language. Put them in your daily activities. Become the essence of the shift to service. Become the essence of really, truly elite leadership, and that's going to make all the difference in your life and in your business. And as always, we love to hear from you guys. Connect with us on Facebook. Send us emails. We want to hear about your progress, what you got out of this webinar, and anything else that we can do to assist you.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining in.
Good night, you guys. Take care.